It seems like an obvious equation. If you're convicted of a crime and sentenced to jail, you lose your job. But State Representative Carlos Henriquez, who's serving 6 months for assaulting his former girlfriend, lobbied his colleagues to let him keep his seat. But his plea fell short, and the Dorchester Democrat has now been expelled. Today's vote came after Carlos Henriquez took to the House floor and said he'd been unjustly accused.
Yet regardless of what my accuser, the jury, and the media have said and may say, the truth always remains the same. The truth is, I never touched my accuser in any way at any point in time that would result in harm or injury.
But the Dorchester Democrat also made it clear that he knew exactly what the outcome would be.
In my 3 years of the House, I've worked hard and I've served honorably. I've learned a lot, and for that I will always remain grateful. Some of you have always shown me your heart, and I will always cherish that.
Meanwhile, Henriquez's colleagues said that while they took no pleasure in today's vote, they also felt they didn't have a choice.
Sometimes, as legislators, we must act with heavy hearts, but we still must act in the best interest of the constituents of the entire Commonwealth.
In the end, 146 of Henriquez's colleagues cast their votes for expulsion, with just 5 lawmakers voting no. While the overwhelming majority in the House agreed Henriquez had to go, he did have some vocal supporters. Juan Cofield is the president of the New England Area Conference of the NAACP, which urged lawmakers to either abstain from voting or vote against expelling Henriquez. Welcome to Greater Boston, Juan.
Thank you so much, Emily.
You've made the point that this case is on appeal and that the House should have waited, the legislature should have waited. But a lot of criminal cases, virtually all of them, go to the appeals process, but that doesn't stop the sentencing. That doesn't stop other things from unfolding around them. So why would the House have waited on this?
There were 2 bases. One is the judgment by the House would have been and is, in our view, premature. Our judiciary system says that a trial court decision is not final if there are appeals underway, and in this case there is an appeal underway. So the judgment of the trial court was not final. I probably would disagree with you. I think relatively.
Well, no, that's not accurate, actually. It is final. Once somebody has been convicted, they begin serving their sentence, so that is the finality. No, so he's in jail.
But that's not the finality in our judiciary system.
The process, but once a jury of your peers, and that's another issue, convicts you, you start your sentence, and appeals are automatic.
But not always
in many
there.
cases.
It depends on the judge. In some cases, they are free on appeal.
Mm-hmm. Not too many criminal cases.
Probably more misdemeanor cases.
Yeah.
This was not a felony.
Mm-hmm.
This was a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
So for the House to make a judgment at this point was premature. What happens if the appellate court reverses and throws out the conviction? Mm-hmm. His constituents would have been disenfranchised in being able to have their chosen representative serve them. And that's not a point that I think, a decision that I think the House should have been making at this point. The other issue is for the NAACP, the New England Area Conference, is that there is no standard in the House today for expulsion based on a misdemeanor conviction. There just isn't.
Do you also feel, though, that there was a racial component to this, or not?
We're not saying that. That's much more judgmental. There are 2 bases in which we made the appeal to the House, and those are fundamental, easy-to-see issues. Mm-hmm. One, the premature nature, and the fact that there is no standard in the House today for expulsion for conviction of a misdemeanor.
So you're not saying that you think Carlos Henriquez is innocent, because he's saying that, but you're not necessarily saying that, correct?
That's correct. That's not the position that the NAACP has taken. We are standing on judicial process, and that the judicial process needs to be fair and just. The NAACP is 105 years old. We have always stood on in support and respect for the American judicial process, and in seeking a fair and just judgment or process through our judiciary.
All right. Juan Cofield, thanks so much for coming in today and sharing your perspective.